now we're going to start to get into the very controversial ones. So, if the other ones were controversial, especially Flacco, because obviously, but now it's getting into the people were pissed online debate. Kevin Stefanski won Coach of the Year, and Derek, before I have you go, I want to say, so it was between Kevin Stefanski and DeMeco Ryans, deservedly so. And they tied on points. I think it was at 165. And the reason why Stefanski won it was because DeMeco Ryans had 20 first place votes. Stefanski had 21. So it was quite literally a single vote that decided the Coach of the Year award this year. And in my opinion, I think it goes to show the job that DeMeco Ryans had done. Because I want to say in just about any other year, that this award's been around for as long as I can remember, this is probably the second best coaching job we have seen, arguably the first. And I think there's an argument for it. I mean, that Texans team went from 2 wins, 2 wins to winning their division. I think they were a 10-win football team this year. That's incredible. It's unheard of. Even when Stefanski won the award previously, he didn't he didn't take over a 2-win team and do that. He took over a 7-win team and did it. It's levels to it, right? So I want to make sure before we get into this, DeMeco Ryans deserves a ton of credit. However, that playoff game doesn't count for him. And I think that's what ultimately decided the voting. In my opinion, it was that close. So Derek, Kevin Stefanski winning Coach of the Year the second time in 4 years. Derek, how are you feeling?
Well, yeah, you mentioned it. I think I wouldn't have been mad either way, personally. I have no argument. If DeMeco Ryans wins Coach of the Year, I have no argument. I think it's, at the end of the day, it just came down to perspective, right? Who was more impressive as a coach? And I want to throw this out there too. Hey, Dan Campbell deserved his name to be thrown in there as well. The Lions had a hell of a year. They did a lot of what they did this year with rookies, and that was extremely impressive. So I want to throw him in there as well. But yes, DeMeco Ryans, unreal season as a head coach. And you know what I love the most about him? Same thing I love about Dan Campbell. These are guys who played for the organization, that come back, they have pride, they love that team, they love that city, and they are completely all in on making that team great again. And that's what I love. I absolutely love that. Now, here's the reason why I think Kevin Stefanski had the edge. And I heard this argument brought up. I can't remember by who, so I apologize for not giving you credit. I can't remember. But this ain't me saying this. The reason why DeMeco Ryans lost is, I think, partially due to the fact that the quarterback that he had to work with was the number 2 quarterback in the draft. He was not a bottom of the first round draft pick. He was not a second round draft pick. This is a guy who arguably should have been the number 1 overall pick. And I think at the end of the day, the expectations were so high for CJ, right? This is a guy who was the best passer coming out of that draft. He was absolutely unreal at Ohio State. Now, did anybody think he was going to come in and do what he did? No, absolutely not. He had the best rookie season from a quarterback that we have ever seen. And that's a huge credit to DeMeco Ryans. But that being said, Kevin Stefanski had Deshaun Watson get hurt, go down. Then you had PJ Walker come in, and you won games with PJ Walker straight out of the XFL.
By the way, against the NFC champions San Francisco 49ers.
Yep. That's a huge factor in this as well. So I can't tell you how many games exactly you won with PJ for sure, but you won, I think, more than you lost. I think we went 3-1 with PJ Walker.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but maybe 2-1.
2-1. Yeah.
Okay.
2-1.
Well, regardless, you had a winning record with PJ Walker as your starting quarterback. And then You have Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR. You want to talk about rookie quarterbacks? This is what, a fifth round, sixth round? I think fifth round.
I want to say we got him in the fifth. Yeah.
Yeah, fifth round rookie quarterback who comes in, was not perfect against the Ravens. I was there. It was painful, but he had like 2 hour notice, right? And then in some of his other starts, he has some promise. He showed some promise. He beats the Steelers at home in Cleveland. Does a couple good things, enough that you can win with him, which is unreal. Like, that's unreal that the Browns had a fifth round rookie come in and play well enough to win. That's crazy. And then Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco. You know, guy who comes in off the couch. We already talked about it. Comes in, practice squad guy, and absolutely just tears it up. Right? This is a guy who won a Super Bowl, had done a lot of great things in his career, but at the age that he was at, to get him in, short notice, learn the offense, execute the offense, grow enough trust with him to expand on the offense a little bit, and, you know, finish the year 11-6 is unreal. Now, technically it's 5 quarterbacks. I'm not really counting Jeff Driscoll. That's we're not going to remember Jeff Driscoll, but we're going to remember
That's going to be a
Deshaun
great
Watson.
trivia question one day.
Oh, yeah.
Who were the 5 quarterbacks that started for the Cleveland Browns? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we'll remember Deshaun Watson. We'll remember P.J. Walker, DTR, and certainly Joe Flacco. We're going to be telling our grandkids about Joe Flacco. But, you know, all that being said, everything from the key position of quarterback to the heart and soul of your team of Nick Chubb going down, along with your key pieces on your offensive line, to maintain this team, right? To keep the locker room intact, to go out there and win games, no matter how you had to do it, right? I said it was on the back of the defense. Yes, I agree. But you still had to do enough as an offense to get the job done. And through play calling, through execution, Stefanski did it. And, you know, you said it. He's been here 4 seasons, which is crazy. Time flies. I remember sitting in, I think it was English class, watching the press conference on my phone when I wasn't supposed to be. You know, that felt like yesterday, and here we are, 4 years later. Kevin Stefanski, two-time Coach of the Year for the Browns. It is beyond impressive. Beyond impressive. Now, again, was it close? Absolutely. You can argue, should he have won, should he have not? But I do think Stefanski is getting disrespected massively within the media and within people on Twitter and the fan bases for some of these other teams. You have to understand the situation. You have to understand what the Browns were dealing with over this course of this season. When you look at it from that perspective and you actually dive into it, then you look at it and say, wow, okay, yeah. Sure, it's not as good as a story as rookie quarterback comes in, turns the team around immediately. It's not that. But when it's piece after piece after piece after piece being replaced, going down, being replaced, going down, and you still find a way to go 11-6, second in the division, get to the playoffs. Again, this is a regular season award. That's what matters. And Kevin Stefanski, absolutely deserved of Coach of the Year, as is DeMeco Ryans, deservedly of Coach of the Year. So that's what I'll say on that. Tristan, Kevin Stefanski, your 2-time Coach of the Year as a Cleveland Brown. What are we thinking here?
Well, first I want to say, you know, man, those Baker Bros were not happy with this outcome. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, no, I think when we look at Kevin's time as Browns head coach, I mean, outside of the 1 year, I mean, I guess you could say 2, although you didn't have Deshaun for the whole year. He was suspended, so that's tough. But, you know, outside of, I would say 1 year where you were below expectations by a good amount, I think he's done a spectacular job here. I think that ultimately we've got to give credit to Paul DePodesta. DePodesta, when we hired Kitchens back, DePodesta wanted Stefanski, an unheard of head coach who nobody was interviewing, or an unheard of OC in Minnesota that nobody was interviewing for a head coach gig. And then the second time around, after Kitchens was let go, he persisted. He was his guy. And, he also brought in Andrew Barry, who works seamlessly with Kevin Stefanski. So I think that Paul DePodesta deserves a lot of the credit for the stuff that's going on in the organization. And I don't think he gets enough credit, to be honest with you. Because ultimately it was him that made these personnel decisions that ended up getting us to this position. So shout out to Paul. But Kevin, yeah, absolutely deserving of the award. You touched on, I think, the exact points that I was going to get to as well, especially when we point out the quarterback play. It's a little bit different, and yeah, I think you really hit all the boxes with that one. What I will say is I agree with you. I think people that are trying to discredit Stefanski because D'Amico didn't win, I just don't think that's right. I think it's very disrespectful when you consider all of the things that Stefanski had to put up with to get to this point. And I mean, if we're going by like tiebreakers too, like we had the second best record in the AFC at the end of the season. We had the second best record. So, like, it was an incredible achievement. Yeah, I think that people discrediting that are